Greetings and salutations. My name is Tish and welcome to the Artist Haven. In this live stream, we are continuing on our journal journey. We are working on a mermaid. I don't even know what you call it. It's not a flip book. It's maybe a slide book. I don't know. So I painted green on this side on top of the purple, and we're going to do the same thing with the gray. Well, this is kind of a grayish purple, and we're just going to dry brush over the top of that. But first I need to get a brush. Let me grab one real quick, because you know, Dame Bramage and all that. Too much blood in my caffeine system. And I'm just going to get a smaller, you can use a chip brush, but I'm just going to use this brush. These have been with me for a long time, so we could use the same green one we used, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint green on this side, and then I might put a different color on this side. I haven't decided yet. That's why I didn't paint the other side, because I'm kind of, let's see what happens. I have another chalk-based paint, and I'm just kind of in that mode. So we need a stir stick so we can stir this. And we are at the ugly stage with this, so it looks kind of wonkerdoodle. Because I think I might bring in a blue chalk paint. I haven't decided yet. So we're only on day 3. And this just goes to show that you only need, an hour or so a day to make something beautiful. And actually, 15 minutes a day, you can get a lot done. All right, so I'm going to take a little dip of this, wipe off the back side and the tip. Be right back. Okay, I had to move my coffee. I noticed it was on my table, but where I normally put it had a bunch of stuff because I've been cleaning. So we're going to dry brush, which means we're just going to have a dry brush and a dry substrate, and we're just going to come in and lay down some color and make it very faint. So I wipe off most of the excess on the stick, So this isn't 100% dry brush. Usually dry brush, you want it a lot more dry. But this, I just want to lay in this little bit of color here and not like globs of paint. So I'm getting most of it off and then coming in and laying down the color. Now this shouldn't take very long to dry because it's already mostly dry. But we're going to have a full 90 minutes here after this. You know, our 90 minutes is already pretty full. So we're going to dry brush these, and then we're going to do some stencils with glue gun, and then also I want to try and make some stamps, some custom stamps for this project that we can use on other projects too. So see, this kind of toned down that green, and it's kind of a purpley gray, so yeah, that's kind of what we want. I'm just going to kind of go around the sides here a little bit with the little bit that I have on the top of it, of those bristles. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing with Miss Mermaid here. Get some paint. I'm wiping most of it off. And then we're going to come in and pull from the edge like that. The thing about dry brushing, I'm doing this really close to myself and I just realized that. I apologize. The thing about dry brushing is you can always add more. You can just, you know, go over it again if it's not quite what you're looking for. Like this line here, I want to get rid of it, so I'm going to pull in some color there and just kind of blend that line out. I'm going to do her tail. A little bit darker. And then we're going to go back and just hit the rest of her. And I'm taking and just kind of going wherever the paint lets me go. I want her tail in this gray a little bit darker. Just, I don't know why, just a thing. Okay. And we're going to hit this and bring them together. And we'll do a little here and a little there. I'm just kind of wiping my brush off actually on the edge there. Again, it's going to be ugly before it's beautiful. So don't worry about it. Just go with the flow. Now we use literally a teaspoon of paint for this. So if you have a bunch of colors, but not a lot of them, try this technique. You know, you have a lot of one color, and then not so much of other colors. You can do this with any kind of paint. You don't have to be this chalk-based paint. There we go. Now, I'll put the stir stick down, wipe off any excess, put the lid back on. I want to set this aside to dry. I'm going to put my brush in my water, which I need to change. And I already have our next layer picked out. We're going to dry brush. These are Waverly. These are from Walmart, and I've never used them in a dry brush setting thing, so we'll see how they work. I also have some of this. This is Rust-Oleum Metallic Accents. I used a lot of this when I was acrylic pouring, and I love the colors and the metallic-y of it. And I thought we could blend this with one of the colors so it has kind of a metallic sheen. Or we could add some pearl base or something like that and just do it as a glaze over the top. I don't know. There's just a little bit left in this jar. I have a big, huge jar too. So we can add whatever we want to that. And then we're going to go over it with the Prussian blue. I'm going to put this with some matte medium and some extender, but you can use just water. But we're going to glaze with that, I think. Let's go put this on the other table and bring our other stuff out. I just realized I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tables in here, and they're various sizes, and I'm grateful for having such a large studio. I had a large studio once before, but I kind of needed it. Actually, technically twice, because my whole apartment when I lived in Minneapolis was all one big art studio. I had my bedroom, my kitchen, and my bathroom that weren't. Everything else, art. All right, let me grab a sip of coffee here real quick. Okay. So for this, we're going to use parchment paper. You can use wax paper. You can use parchment paper. I prefer parchment paper for just about everything. And you can get parchment paper at the Dollar Tree. It's on a little roll. I buy mine in bulk from the restaurant store. They have it on Amazon. I tend to get the unbleached just because it makes me feel better knowing that we're not putting more chemicals into our drinking water. Let's see. I'm going to do this underneath there. And then I'm going to use this paper as a pattern. So I'm going to tear this off here. And these are full sheet pan size parchments, and you can very easily tear them down or cut them down just like I did here. And to have this be a little bit more stable, I'm going to fold it over and grab some blue tape, because blue tape will add to the weight to the paper. And you know what? Hang on one second. Let me do something. I forgot to turn my fan down before I went live. There we go. Because the fan likes to blow everything everywhere. There we go. So, have you ever done anything like this where you use the glue stick? I haven't done it in a while, so this is kind of a refresher course for me. We're gonna use this as a pattern, as a background. I'm gonna come up with one that's gonna do what I'm gonna use this to do. So my glue gun hopefully is hot. Oh, I got a whole big glob. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna use this, and I'm just gonna trace this, maybe. There we go. And you can do these more freestyle. Good Lord, why am I shaking so bad? So I'm gonna take my tip and just kind of even these out a little bit. They're gonna be kind of gloopy, and that's okay. That's what we want. We don't want an exact replica. This thing's so big. I've had this thing for probably dang near a decade. But you can use, they have really inexpensive ones on Amazon and Walmart. Okay, now we're gonna bring this from over here. And you want to make sure you're all connected. That's the one thing I remember, is making sure that your lines connect. Should have grabbed my other one, but I wanted to see if this one still worked. Now you can do the same thing to create a mask, but instead of following the dark lines, you'd fill in where the whitish, the light area would be. Hey, we're getting better at this. Sort of. Good Lord. Didn't realize it was going to be this hard to squeeze. I don't have the battery for my Ryobi, so I can't use that glue gun. That one's easier to squeeze. I think this guy's just not heating up like he used to. Well, there we go. And I'm just going to draw a line across the top here. If I had time, I would heat up the other one, but I don't. So let's just work with what we got. I have several glue guns because I have one that's a Surebonder and it has a finer line than most glue guns. So if you want to do a stencil that has really fine lines, I would highly suggest that. That thing is amazing. It's like, I don't know, like $15. So it's not too expensive. I got mine at Michael's with a coupon, of course. So we're going to do 5 lines of the little scales. There we go. Let's do this guy here too. Okay, that's what I'm having problems with. Okay, so I'm running it along the parchment, which if you have something flammable underneath, like alcohol ink or something, I would probably not do it as close to the paper as I am, but I'm finding I can stay more within the lines and it helps me not wiggle so much. All right, I'll bring that guy up, bring this guy down. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, maybe we'll do 7 because it doesn't seem like it's that far. Because then what I'm going to do is make bigger scales. There we go. Bring that one out. Bring the line down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now instead of using this, we're going to use these as, actually, you know what? Let's do 2 more rows because I'm looking at this. I mean, if we do bigger ones, yeah, let's do 2 more rows. And I'm keeping it like an odd number on purpose. All right, you, come on. We're going to be using glue guns next week too, for the other journal that we're going to be making. Excuse me, goodness. Got the hiccups again. I swear, I don't know how to get rid of hiccups. I think it's just because I hold my breath when I'm working. I think. I don't know. Just breathe deep. There we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's do 10, 11, 12, 13. There we go. Now we know how many we're going to do. Because I like that big, the big space there. There we go. There we go. Now let's bring this down. connect. I find if you can connect them on the edges, even if it's just kind of a rough connection, your stencil will be more stable. Now we're going to go these two like this. And make big scales. Just to give it some variation. Probably should have come down a little bit further on these. Let's see if we can move this. Oops, I forget that this doesn't have a stand. It has a stand. But... Okay, stay. I wonder if I can take a chopstick and just kind of move this. No, but ooh, that's warm. We can't move it, but we can remove it. So this is a fancy tool. It's a chopstick. I wanted something kind of blunt. I didn't want to rip the paper. Okay, there we go. It's all right. So let's take that off. Costs you the price of a Asian food dinner. All right, there we go. Let's make these a little bit more where we want them. There we go. And now we want to make sure that we have it bonded. So I'm using my tip to kind of remelt the glue that's already sitting there. So is it going to be perfect? No, it's handmade. Handmade can be perfect. I'm not saying handmade has to automatically qualify as sloppy or messy, but I think for me it's the imperfections in handmade stuff that make it unique and individual. Because even if you mass make things and they're handmade, you're still going to have minor imperfections. We're not machines. Even machines make mistakes. I don't know, have you shopped at some of these furniture stores and seen some of the stuff that they do? It's like, come on, people. All right, so we're going to bring this down this way and then connect it up here. And then use these two to connect them. And don't worry about your little strings. We can snip those off later. There we go. And there we go. Okay, and we're going to connect that and all of this and all of that. There we go. And now we're going to do the 3 again. Excuse me, and we're going to bring this out. There we go. Now we're going to do 2. Oops, that didn't work. That's not where we wanted to go. So let's smooth that out. Probably don't want to put my finger on that. All right. Way to go, Tish. Way to go. It's all right. Now I can use my finger and just roll that off. That was warm. And if I say that's warm, that's probably too hot for any other human, unless you've been a baker for 10 years. Okay, so these two, here we go. We'll make sure we get this right. There we go. Okay, connect the top and the bottom here. There we go. And then we start here. That's where we were supposed to be. Nope, that's right. So go here to here. This is the last row. I didn't get it. Move over a little bit there, hey. There you go. And yes, I talk to inanimate objects because that's me. All right, so I'm going to fill this in. And just so it's a little bit more stable around the edges. There we go. Same with here. I gotta take this glue off. Hang on a second. And throw that in the bin. There we go. Now, let's go. Oh, I need another stick. Now I'm using these really long glue sticks. You can get glue sticks. I got these at Dollar Tree. It's 10 mini sticks for $1.25. I don't suggest getting them there unless you're budget constricted or in a pinch. Not because it's bad glue stick, but because it's actually more expensive to buy them 10 for $1.25. But if that's all you can afford, or if that's all you have access to right now, then by all means, you do you, boo. Okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to make this one. So I'm kind of melting the glue that's already there with the tip of the glue gun and then bringing it over. Just because I want it to be kind of all the same width. And then I'm coming in and laying down excuse me, a strip to kind of reinforce the areas here. And then we're going to set this aside and let it cool completely, because we don't want any hazardous things to happen. So there we go. Got a nice thick border. Just to help us have something to hang on to when we're using it and when we're pulling it off. So let's put this aside. Stay. I'm going to leave that on because when we go to peel this off, if there's any sections that peel off, then we want to make sure that we have our hot glue hot. So where'd my black go? I suppose we don't, yeah, let's use jet black. There it is. Okay, so that's sitting there. We're going to get our jet black and we're going to get this, and I'm going to take a quick sip of coffee, and I mute my microphone when I sip my coffee because it gets a little jingly jangly. So, because it's iced coffee. So. All right. So these are lino pads. You can use memory foam. You can use styrofoam, like the foam that foam packaging that comes in like electronics and stuff. You can use, there's actually these little dice that I get, the hanging dice. They're made out of foam. I've made stamps out of that, but we're going to make a stamp out of this lino because I want to keep this. The other stamps, they will last, but not quite as long. So when we go to the liquor store, we get these cool little bottles. I don't know what you call them, bottle protectors. I used to get them when I worked at Life Fitness. We'd have them that came on the pole, some of the metal poles. I'll put that up there. So what we're going to do, because these are stretchy, is we're just going to stretch this over the top of this, like this, and we're going to make a net. So I want this to be a little bit tighter, so it's a little bit bigger. There we go. Yeah, like that. But we want it all the way down to the bottom. There we go. So I'm just going to fold this over. And grab a clamp. There we go. So it looks kind of like that. And then I'm going to take my black ink because, oh, that's green. Where's my black? There it is. And I kind of hold it down and we're just going to stamp on it or dauber on it. And I can't remember if there's a good side or a bad side to this. So we're just going to go for broke. Like a side you're supposed to use and a side you're not supposed to use. I don't think there is. They both feel the same. So and I'm going to get as close to the stamp as I can, or the clip. Now, if you don't have one of these nets, you could very easily just draw lines, but I am not friends with math. Okay, I'm going to take the clip off, lay this down, hold it with a fingernail. And I want it to be a little wonky. I don't want it to be perfect because I'm not perfect. So we're going to hit this with the hairdryer so we dry the ink. Give me a moment. I'm going to mute the microphone so you don't get your ears blasted out. Okay, I'll gently take this off and put that over with the other guys. And then we're going to get our tool out. I have a whole bunch of tools. I think this is, it's been a minute since I've done these. So what we're going to do is, this is just a straight edge. And I'm going to just kind of follow the line here. Actually, let's get one of these out. This might be faster. If we just take the tool. Yeah, this is a boring tool basically. And we're just going to start at this edge and follow the line up. This one's really fine. Maybe we'll get the bigger one out. No, I think this is pretty good. I'm going to turn this around and go back up this edge. So you can get all the way to the corner. Okay, we're just going to follow these lines. And it does take firm pressure. That's why I'm keeping my hand to the side. There we go. Let's turn it around, get this edge again. Nope, that's okay. We went off the mark a little bit, so we're just gonna go back in, nudge that out. There we go. Okay, and we'll start here. I have firm pressure, but I'm trying to like keep it even. It's been a minute since I've done this. And it's good practice to do something basic like this before you do anything more complex. And if you're looking for lino supplies, Stephanie at the Painted Raven has it in her shop. The link is in the description. And there is also a coupon code there for you. You'll be supporting a small business and one of my friends. I'm going to do them all this direction and then go back and do all the next direction. Now you want to go down fairly deep because you want to be able to leave an impression. So you want to be able to feel that. What am I doing? I'm trying to keep them all on the side here, that way they don't get in my way. And I've been trying to start at the edge, but it hasn't really worked for me right now. So we'll come back and get those edges. Okay, let's get this one. I'm just following the line. I don't know where that line went. So we're just going to make a line. There we go. There we go. And I grabbed 2 of these because I was afraid, you know what, Murphy is my friend. And he likes to come and visit me and mess things up for me. So really it's just me making mistakes. But having 2 on my table makes it a little bit easier. All right, this one I'm going to hold here. Sorry guys. I don't want to cut myself because these are very sharp. Excuse me. All right, now we're going to go, let's see. Yeah, we're going to go this way. And just get the edges. Now you can be using, if you use foam, you can use a hot knife. I got mine many years ago and it still works famously. So it's worth the investment if you want to make your own stencils a lot or your own stamps a lot. I also use it for some of my resin work. I use it to trim with. It works great for that. So I get multiple uses out of one tool. That's kind of how I justify. Now this one's a little bit more difficult because we are going across that main line that we already have. But finding, if I just push on through, let's see how that is. Let's go back over it one more time. We're going to go slow and steady and try and follow that same line. There we go. That's better. And we're going to check it, make sure that we have nothing sticking up like we do right here. See, I have a little line right here sticking up, so we're just going to go in and cut that out. There we go. It's like where a knot would be in the net. It's okay. trick to this is not look where you are, but look forward. It's kind of like life. Don't look where you're at, look where you want to be. And I'm kind of making these like various thicknesses. Like some I'm going more at an angle so it cuts it a little bit wider. You can see it's a little bit wider here than it is on this one. Because I want the lines to be different between the two. Like this one I'm going to do more shallow. This one I'm going to do shallow, and then maybe a deep one, a couple of deep ones. But just play around. Get a set of inexpensive tools and some lino and just experiment. I haven't done this, like I said, I haven't done this in a long time. But it's something that I miss doing. And when Miss Clara was working on hers, I'm like, I need to get back into that. And I never did. But now I am. Here I am. Let's do this side. There we go. This one I'm going to make really deep. There we go. Can't see my line with all the little lino pieces. There we go. Now I'm just going to take a moment and look around the edge. And make sure that it comes off the edge. Which is easier said than done because this stuff doesn't want to cooperate. So I'm going to get my little scooper knife here. Apologize for my big head. And we're going to just kind of cut them off. Maybe. This tool's really dull. Let's see, do we have a better tool to do this with? I don't want to be here all day. Let's see what I got here. That's the smallest bevel tool. Let's see, this one's a little bit smaller, but I think we'll just have to do it with this. Okay, so I'm going to go around and just kind of hit the edges as best I can. just to make sure the line goes over the edge. Those ones are okay. That one's okay. This one kind of skipped a beat. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. All right, I'm just gonna leave it now. Oh, we gotta fix this one. There we go. Oh, that works really good to do it over your finger. Just be careful. So I'm just holding it like this and pushing. That works pretty good. Oh, maybe I knew that trick a long time ago, and that's why I just started instinctively doing it. You know, when you don't do something for a long time and you feel like you're fumbling around because you used to be really good at it. That's how I feel right now. I used to be really good at this. I think I need to get new tools. I have a box of new tools. So next time I bring these out, because these are a little bit on the duller side, because I've used them a lot. And I have no idea. Maybe I should talk to the scissor sharpening guy in town and see, like, maybe like, can you sharpen these? Okay, we're back to where we started. All right, so let's move our tools out of the way. So we have a net stamp and a mermaid scale stamp, not stamp, oh, what's it called? A stencil. There we go. That's the words I was looking for. So let's bring out that stencil and let's do a test page before we bring it to our project. There we go. Move that out of the way. Put that aside for a moment. Let's use this parchment to clean up our mess. Put that in the garbage bin. Let's see a little few stragglers over here. Let's clean those guys up. All right. And let's see how our stencil did. So now we should be able to just peel this off. Let's take it off the cardboard. You know, before I use more blue tape, I should really look at what I got down on the leg of my table. Because I have a bunch of blue tape just hanging out there like, pick me, pick me. Okay, so this is just a piece of scrapbook paper that that we're using in the journal that I used as a template. If I wanted to make my own template again, I would just take like whatever size scales I wanted. So, and then, you know, you have quarters, you have whatever, but you can use like the inside or the outside of a tape and just draw a circle, you know, and line them up, and maybe draw a line so you know where to go, and then use a Sharpie on the circle part. Draw the pencil part, draw the line part in pencil so you can know which one you're using. Okay, you go up there for a minute. We're gonna move this out of the way. Dollar Tree pans, the sheet pans, great for like using as drying racks, cooling racks, what have you. Now we're gonna peel this off like we would a piece of vinyl, hopefully. And I'm just gonna start with the edge. There we go. And then I'm just gonna peel the paper back. And it should release. It's not. Why is it not releasing? That's okay. We'll just do the other side. This is some powerful glue stick, man. I know the cheap, I made the mistake of not using the cheap stuff. I used the good stuff. All right, so we're just gonna take this, what we can, and we're gonna loosen up the edges here. Maybe it's just because it's not cool enough. That could be very much it, because this is still a little warm. So it's okay, because we're just gonna peel this off. Oops, we gotta be careful. There we go. And I'm holding this piece down while I peel this up. Okay. I have never had this problem before. Interesting. Usually parchment is like, peels right up. It's okay. Now you know what to do if your paper sticks. So we're just gonna continue to peel where we can. Pull at the voids here. And I'm just gonna put these little pieces in the garbage bin, because parchment you can't make into paper, but we can still use this piece of parchment for other stuff. So, all right. So we're just gonna pull at the voids and hold the stencil down. So, yeah, this is just gonna be a little bit fussy, and that's okay. Geez, how can't, you know, sugar doesn't even stick to this stuff. That just tells you how strong this glue is. All right, let's get this little fussy bunch over here done. But hey, at least the stencil is staying together, right? There we go, positive thinking. Excuse me. All right, so now we're just gonna kind of push it through. There we go. And if it sticks, we just want the voids to be open. If it sticks on this side, I'm not worried about it. Because this is the side that's going to go against the paper anyway. So just take a moment and just gently pull this away. And then get a sip of coffee, because, you know, we need a reward, or, you know, a bite of chocolate, or whatever it is that you can, you know, walk around your desk. Now these little strings, there's some little strings here. Let's see. I think you should be able to see them. We're just going to take a scissors and we'll just snip those off. Let's get this guy done. So that way we can say that corner is done. So I'm just going to punch a hole and then use that to pull. Yeah, that works. There we go. We'll do the same thing over here and just grab in the hole and pull it away. This is either some bad parchment or some really sticky glue. All right, you know, it'll help just to move that. We're not going to need that piece. That way I can see where the parchment is. There we go. And I'm holding the stencil and pulling the paper. Oh, we have one break. So we're just going to be very gentle right there, and then we'll come back with the glue gun and just mend that. Oh, this one's really thin right here, so let's be very careful. There we go. We got past the thin part. Okay, let's go back at it from this side. There we go. All right, let's pull this one. Okay, where was our break at? It was right there, and it's not even that big of a break. We're just going to take the nozzle of our glue gun. I would hold this up and do it. We're just going to take the nozzle of our glue gun and just kind of put maybe a drop of hot glue there. There we go. And just rub it with the nozzle of the glue gun just to get it to melt in there. There we go. Okay. I just didn't want to make it worse. All right, so where are we at? Let's get this guy. Hey now, you don't need to be like that. Just lay right there. Now, if you really wanted to, you could put this in water and soak it off. I think that might work. I'm not 100% sure. I've never had this problem before, so I guess it's maybe because these might be better glue sticks. The longer ones, they might be better glue than the inexpensive ones that I get. Because these ones I get in bulk. These are like for floral decorating. So this might be a better adhesive. But hey, if it works for parchment, this might be, you know, a way to glue down parchment to our projects. Maybe. I'll have to test it. And then I'll have to find, if it works, then I'm going to have to find the glue sticks that I ordered. There we go. And let's get these little pieces, because I'm not going to worry about the little bits. So we can just snip them out with the scissors if it's really annoying. But most of this looks like it's glued to like the big areas. Let's see. Excuse me. I'm going to bring this up and peel this off. There we go. So I'm looking at where it's at, like the paper that's stuck to the actual glue, I'm not going to worry about, but the paper that has like a void behind it. It's my lunchtime. Thank you, phone, for reminding me.
It's 12 p.m. Have you eaten? It's 12:01 p.m.
Okay. There. I have alarms that remind me to eat. There we go. This one might be interesting. I might just leave these strings on here because they kind of add some texture, but I don't know. We'll see. We will see. They actually kind of pull right out too. Like this one, we can just kind of pluck like a little hair. There we go. Actually, let's get our little snips. Where'd they go? Here they are. Our little snips. And because this one has a little hair glue. Oh, I grabbed the wrong snips. I should have grabbed my Tim Holtz ones. There we go. Oh, smile and laugh. Have fun with it. Oh, this one has a little break in it. Nope, that one has a little break in it too. Hang on. Let's fix that one. Actually, let's get this done because it's actually a gap. I missed a spot. So we're gonna get these little guys off of here. I'm just using my fingernail. Oh, that one just broke. I had a feeling that was gonna break though when I started pulling on it. There we go. Almost done. Almost done. Dun da da da. Okay. Let's get our other little snips. Our little micro snips. Somewhere in here. There it is. I have a cup that has all my scissors in it. And I am so grateful for it. That way I can find my scissors wherever I need them, whenever I need them. Okay. There we go. This one. I'm going to snip right there. There we go. And this one. I'm noticing some of the places it's sticking is also where the glue got a little bit thin, like spread out. So maybe that's a problem that we can try to avoid. There we go. How does all that look? Let's get this guy. And that one isn't quite connected, so. And then these guys up here. There we go. And this one. Okay, let go. There we go. I'm going to snip this right here. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and kind of snip these off. These are the little hair guys, the ones that are just like kind of hanging out and being annoying. Okay, so we've got a broken one here and there. So let's do these. So again, melting it a little bit and then putting a drop of glue in. And we're going to do that with this. Maybe I waited too long. Maybe I let it get too cool. Okay, and then I thought there was another one up here. Maybe not. There we go. Okay. All right, stay where I put you. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna let this cool for just a moment. Let me grab this piece because I want to put that underneath there, and then we're gonna connect these two again. Because apparently I skipped a spot, which is fine. Wow, this really wants to come out fast. Okay, I'm gonna use our chopstick again. Stay. And kind of clean this up a little bit. Okay. I'm wondering. Oh. Yeah, maybe I just need to do it when it's still mostly warm. Not hot, because I don't want to burn my fingers. Oh, that guy just came apart. Because he was never really well connected. Let's do a little bit right there. There we go. I'll let that hang out there, and then we're going to take this guy. Let's just flip this over. Oh, he broke again. Maybe this is old glue. I don't think these are that old. All right. Mm-hmm. You know what? We're just going to leave it. Because I don't see it. Oh, yeah, there it is. Let's just take the tip and remelt the glue. There we go. There we go. Stay. Oh, now it just fell apart there. Hey, okay. All right, I'm gonna hit this with a hairdryer. I want to try an experiment. Okay, let's see if this works. So I hit it with the warm air on low, and now it peels up perfectly. Okay, we're good. Oh, there's the one that needs to be, you know what? We're just going to skip that one. We're just going to pull off. I'm going to come in here. We're just going to snip these strings right here. I'm just going to snip them. I'm not worried about cutting them off. See, there's a whole gap right there. I think that came off with the paper. Okay. While that's cooling, I'm just going to lift this up and snip more strings, and then we should be ready to go. So I'm getting the big ones that are going to affect the flow of it. I'm not worried about the little ones. I'm just more snipping the little ones in half, so that way when we hit this with our brayer, or not brayer, our ink tool, I wonder if this is because I mixed old and new glue. Maybe that could be it. I don't know. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit this with the hairdryer on warm and then cool. And then I'm not going to fuss with it anymore. Because I want to get this done. I want to see. I want to see. Okay. Give me one moment. Okay. Let's just put this on this side just so it doesn't stick to the table. Yeah. There we go. We're going to gently. Boy, it's doing it again. The world may never know, right? Why it's sticking? Because it's not, it's doing it again. So we're just going to go for broke. Gently pull it off. There we go. Okay. Now, there's still a few pieces of parchment in there. I ain't gonna worry about it. I'm gonna grab, I'm not gonna use it on vellum. Let's grab a piece of this paper, or yeah, let's grab a piece of this paper. There we go. Let's lay this down. Let's grab our blue. We're going to use this Hero Arts Aquatic, And then we're just going to stamp on through to the other side. Now it's kind of stretchy, so you got to be gentle. And I'm just trying this out with regular paper, but we're going to go back over and I'll go back over and grab our papers that we made yesterday. Oop, I shifted. And I'm just going to really darken some of these just to kind of see the difference. And I'm just tapping and turning. All right, that's not all of it, but I want to see. Oh, that looks really cool. And then I flub it up by putting the ink pad on it, but that's okay. It's okay. Life happens. So that gives you the impression of scales, and that's exactly what I wanted to do, is just give the impression of them. If you have a Surebonder, the fine line Surebonder, if you're doing more detailed things like this, I would use that. But something like this, yeah, I kind of like it. So let's do our net. And with these lino, you want to make sure you just tap really lightly. And this isn't really a net because this is more of like a checkerboard maybe, because we took out the lines. Now if we would have gone in and done each individual little square, that would have given us more of a true net pattern, but I wanted something like this. So let's put this here. That looks pretty cool. That looks really cool actually. So I didn't press hard because I wanted to see it, how the lines turned out, more than true ink coverage. But you can take a brayer and use a brayer and some paint with these. You can use ink. I'll do a more true impression. Let's do that on this side. So there's stuff underneath on my paper, so it might not press through as nicely. So you can use the same technique with but come out, take out the squares. And maybe that's what I'll do with the other one if I get time today. I am going to do another live session in the evening during our co-working live streams, where I'm going to do some other stamps, because I have other stamps I want to make. Okay, let's see. We could take our brayer even, just to make sure. This is my little one, and I think it shifted when I hit it. So yeah, I think that looks really cool. See how we have kind of that big, like where the seam was? We could come back. You know what? Let's do that. Let's come back and make that whole line big like that. Let's grab our tool. So this is the cool thing about making your own stamps, is if you don't like a section or you want to modify a section, you can. All right, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make this side bigger right here. Just a little bit wider. And then we'll switch to this side. Now get that out of my way. Come on, guy. And since we're done with the glue gun, I'm going to turn that off because it's making it warm in here. And then we're going to make this one really wide. There we go. There, that kind of balances that out. And we're going to do another section on this side. There we go. Okay, now let's ink it up and do another stamp, just for poops and giggles. But if you use an ink pad, you got to be careful of your ink lines. So, unless you don't care, unless it's not a thing for you. There we go. And we'll set it down right here. Oop. We got a piece of lino right there. I'm going to brayer this because I'm on something. I can tell because it's lifting. Let's shift this over. Oh, I'm on the stencil. Silly Tish. There we go. Oh yeah, see now? You can tell where I was up on the stencil. So there's an idea, you know, maybe do that intentionally. Put a piece of lace underneath or something and see if it comes through. Experiment, have fun. So yeah, I like that. Yay, I'm excited. Okay, here we go. For the stencils on the, I might do aquatic, and then actually we used alcohol ink, so we could use distress oxides. We could use distress oxides. It wouldn't be against the rules because you can do whatever the flop you want. Unless you can't find the color you want. Speckled egg, there it is. Yeah. So let's bring our papers over. Grab a sip of coffee. And let's have at it. And I think that one I'm actually going to blend it with some brown. All right, let's put our tools away. Let's tidy up a little bit. I'm going to grab a sip of coffee and tidy up. So I found this page when I was cleaning through some of my old art papers. This is tissue paper. I thought maybe we could use this as a decoupage on one of our pages that we already have picked out. I don't know. I put it here just to remind me it existed. So because this one is kind of wonky on the one side, I wanted, this is the side, but this is Yupo paper. So I'm not sure how this is going to work, but we're going to try. There we go. I'm like, where can I put this? So I'm going to take the stencil and lay it down where I kind of want it. And we'll use these on paper because I know how they're going to work on paper. I don't know how that would work on Yupo paper, the Distress Oxides and stuff. I don't think, because it's water-based, I don't think it's going to stick. But I know archival will stick. So we're going to come in here with, let's do aquatic for this. Actually, we can't use aquatic either because that's a dye-based. I need something that is, let's unplug this heat gun before I burn myself. There we go. Let's push it over out of the way. Maybe. There we go. So we're going to use blue, purple, and green. Purple, green. Let's go in with the green first. We'll just lay down some color right here. In between the smudges. And I'm not going to go all the way in. I just want it. There we go. We'll do one of the couple of the big scales. So keeping in mind that we only need it to be, what are the tag sizes again? 7.5 by 4 1/4. So we'll come down on the big ones. So we can do 7.5 right here by 4 1/4, or we'll go this way, depending on which ones we like. Okay, and then we're going to come in with the blue. And just stomp wherever we want. There we go. And then we'll take the purple and do the same thing. And a little bit here. Come back with the blue. Kind of do that, and then we're going to smooth. We're going to cover our inks first. So, excuse me, I use seagrass, petunia, and night sky. I'm trying so hard not to move my hand. Ugh, there we go. And I'm going to mist this with rubbing alcohol. There we go. That one really missed it. Holy Hannah. Let's take one of these daubers and just kind of tap it. There we go. And there we go. So I have this cool scale looking thing. So let's make sure that we can cut this. Because see, yeah, I want to keep this kind of area for the tags. So, excuse me, is this 7.5? Yeah, we could use that, or we could use this, either way. So I kind of like this corner for what we're doing today. And then we have this whole piece of paper, that Yupo paper, that we can utilize. So we have to decide which way we want to go. So that's 4.5 right there. So it would go this, wait, yeah, it would be like this to here. So it gets dark and light. Or this way. So it would be here to about here. I kind of like it this way. So let's cut our 7.5 this way. Let's get this guy out. Oh, we got a flipper. Hang on. I need more hands. Let's put that over there. All right, so we're going to do 7.5 this way. Like butter. So we have this cool piece that we can use in another project. Put that somewhere. There we go. And then we're going to do 4.5 this way, right? Yeah. Or is it 4.25? 4.25. And then we still have this piece that we can use in another project. Or we can use these pieces in this project to make other things. I don't know how Yupo paper glues. I've never tried to glue it. I've always just worked with it. So we're going to take our template here. And we're going to use our stencil on that. So we're going to stick these together. And we're going to get our template out. And we're going by the bottom. And then I'm going to grab a scissors. We're going to cut our angles. There's 1. And 2. Okay. And these go in the garbage because they cannot be made into other paper. Or other paper projects, shall we say. There we go. We have our Yupo paper tag cut. And I'm just inking the edge with some black just to cover up that white. There we go. We'll let that dry over there. And now we'll come back to our stencil. And I think, so here's the other papers we have. This one's kind of shiny and shimmery. And I wonder, I think this one I'm just going to do a tag with. This one I'm going to do the stencil with. This one I don't think I'm going to do anything with. And then this is just our regular cardstock, which I don't think I'm going to do anything with because I really like the way it looks just as is. It's got color on both sides. But I do have this craft paper that we need to work with. This is our pocket page that we're going to be making. So let's, and this is going to be glued together. So let's lay our stencil out on this. I'm going to put that up there. Okay. And you know what? We're going to take the parchment out because parchment is slippery. And let's do this side first. We only need to do the top half. So let's lay this down. And then we're going to take our tape back out. And we're just going to use this to kind of help tape it down. There we go. And we'll get one at the top. And then one down here at the bottom. There we go. And now we're going to take, I've got Mermaid Lagoon, Speckled Egg, and I have Blueprint Sketch somewhere. I thought I did. I know I have it. Vintage photo, that goes over here. Well, dude. Those are all ones that need to have labels made for them. What's this one? Ha ha ha. Of course, this is the last one I touch. All right, so I'm going to get my oxide pad out. So I have this, I got it off of Amazon, and I keep all my daubers in here. And then the other side is like all the extra daubers and pads and steel wool and stuff. Because I buy my stuff in ink because I burn, or in bulk because I burn through them so fast. Because I am not gentle. So I only have one blue dauber. So we're going to take a clean dauber pad. And I have a multitude of other like empty daubers that I usually use for like paint or blending or whatever. So I've got this guy. Actually, you just use that guy for that. And that guy for those two. That'll work. All right. Because that's what I was going to do anyway, is just make one for the blue, but since we already have it. And I put little hair binders on there so the lids stay on, so if I do drop it on the floor, it's not, oh, it's not that big of a deal. So we're just going to come in with some of this. Random spots, random darkness, random lightness. I think, yeah, we only need to do, we need to move this down. Oh, there's a quick way to take your little strings off. Just put some tape on it. All right. We're going to get rid of all this on here. And then we're going to go back. And yes, oh my gosh, it's turning teal. Okay. Okay, that's kind of how I feel about it. I try not to do it, but you know, it's coming off. It's fine. It's fine. I figure if Tim Holtz can do it, I can do it too. Dang it. Cool dude and everything, but he's not that special. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love that guy. Like, I would just love to just hang out with him and craft with him for a day because our styles, our aesthetics are so similar. And he knows a lot about like card making and that kind of thing, where I'm more like furniture and big pieces. And that's why I wish these ink pads came in like the big pads, because I would totally buy one. Like one of every color. Excuse me. And then we're going to come in with the blueprint sketch. And we're just going to kind of give it some love. Oop. No, don't move on me. I should have taped it down to the table too. There we go. That's okay. And I'm going to try and get, there we go. That works for me. And then we're going to, after we put spritz some water on here, I'm going to leave this all out, but I'm going to put it away now because I don't want to get water on those pads. So I'm going to spritz this with a little bit of water, just some droplets at first, just to see. And then we're going to go with the mister and mist it in a couple of spots. Okay, so now I'm going to let this sit for a minute. I'm going to hit it with the hair dryer on cool just to kind of help it dry, but I don't want it to go poof dry. If that makes any sense. Okay, now I want to take the blue and the purple ink, and I'm not going to do a lot. I'm just going to kind of define more of the lines. And kind of darken it up a little bit. There we go, and then we'll hit it with the purple. See, I didn't put very much ink on there at all. And the purple, we're going to stay more towards the outer edge. and then come across the bottom. Kind of like we're distressing it without distressing it. And then we're going to lift this up and do the other side. Because this way when we ink the edges, we'll ink them in purple. Okay, just leave that one there. Oop. There we go. I'm going to hit this with the hairdryer just to make it dry. Give me one moment. Sorry, I hit the mute button before I turned it off. All right, now we're going to flip it over and we're going to do the same thing on this side. But we're going to make it so it looks different. And before we go too far, I'm going to hinge that. And we're going to get more, where did my blue tape go? There it is. We're going to tape this down and this down. So that way it doesn't shift. Ta-da! There we go. There we go. Move this one over like that. And then this one can go right here. All right, now we're going to bring back our Distress Oxides. We're going to just smoosh it down. I'm going to really get heavy with the lighter color, because we want it to look different from front to back. And they're going to look different because, you know, it's two sections. We could use the exact same stencil and the exact same colors, you know, same section of stencil, same colors, and no matter how hard we try, it's always going to be the same color, or different. Same color. What am I thinking? Okay, get that uploaded. Okay, we're going to come in with this beautiful color. I love this color. Not my favorite color, but I still love it. It's like, I love gummy bears. They're my favorite. And chocolate. But I love hard candies too. In fact, I am going to buy a candy thermometer and start making candies again. Start practicing, and then that's going to be my Christmas gifts, I think, this year, is hard candies. All right, now let's come in with the blue. And we're not going to put as much blue on this one. I'm mostly hitting the ones that don't have any color in them. letting that be my guide. Like this guy right here, doesn't have a lot of color. This guy right here. There. Okay, cover those up. And we're gonna spritz this. And I'm not gonna miss this one. There we go. All right, I'm gonna turn on the hair dryer again. So I'm gonna mute the microphone again so you guys don't get your ears blown out. All right, now let's come back in with the blue and the purple again. Again, to just kind of help define the lines. And then the purple around the edges. Okay, and then we're going to finish off this pocket by doing, I think we'll use blue ink. And put these, that one can go back over here. There we go. So let's pull this up and see how it looks. There we go. And I'm going to leave the because this is going to be the inside. So it doesn't need to be decorated. We will ink it all before we glue it down. But, so we have two very different scale inspired instances. And now we're going to take our blue ink and we're going to stamp this area here. So let's take our tape here and we're going to, actually let's do this like that. There we go. And then I'll tape that there. We'll tape this here, that way it won't shift while we're trying to stamp it. And then we're going to do blue here. And you know what? We could actually take a little bit of purple and just there. Give it a variation of color. Line it up. There we go. There we go. Peel that up. That looks really cool. So we're going to flip-flop these around. There we go. I don't know how I want to do this just yet. Yeah, let's go this way. I'll lift that up. Oh, that looks really cool. All right, so lift that up and that up. We got a little bit of a, there we go. So there are our pockets. So let's put this aside so we don't put our elbow in it, because that's what I do. Excuse me. And then we're gonna ink. Actually, no, we're gonna round these bottom corners just a little bit, just to give them a little more definition. So I'm using the small setting on my corner rounder. There we go. So it's just got a little bit of a rounded corner. Not much, but not sharp either, because this is full of sharp edges. There we go. Now we're going to take our purple, cover that up, put the blue away. Actually, we should do the blue on the bottom and purple around the top. That's what I think we'll do, just to give it some more visual interest. And we're just going to ink this to make the line pop out a little more. I am not going to put a, what are they called? A divot, I guess, for the pocket on this one, but I am for the side ones, just so you know where to look for said pocket. There we go. Now, let's put this away. And the purple. We're going to have to re-ink after we cut anyway, but I want it to be consistent before I even start. That way I have an idea. So we're going to take and ink both sides. And this side's going to get inked fairly well. And I'm not going to cut the divot until I have the two sides glued together for the pocket. The pocket's going to be big enough the way it sits. So, yeah. And I could have drawn a line and known where I was going to have to ink, but this way I don't have to color within the lines, because who wants to do that? And then we have this one last edge. There we go. And now we will glue down our pockets. So let's get our glitter glue. And I'm using the big bottle for this. There we go. And fold that up. There we go. Oops. Let's make sure we glue the right edge. That way we don't have to guesstimate where we're putting the glue. There we go. Now, before I glue down for the big pocket, this pocket right here, I am going to take my template and I am going to cut. Actually, let's do this because I don't trust my hands to hold this in place. So when we're using our templates, we're going all the way to the bottom of the page, because at the top it's going to be slightly different for different papers, because we cut them all separately. So, and even though you try really hard to make them all the same, you still are going to be a 32nd of an inch to a 16th of an inch off, and that's okay. That's quite fine. And actually, because we did it this way, excuse me, because we did this way, we have space to do our circle punch. All right, this is an oval punch, and now we can put our oval punch right here, like so. And we'll know, I'm just going to take this blue and we're just going to put the oxide down into the pocket just for the color of it. And do the same thing on this side with a different color. And then the cool thing we can do is, that's an oxide that goes there. We can take some rubbing alcohol, and this kind of does the same thing. And then smush them together. And it's going to affect the stuff on the outside too, so be aware of that. If you don't want it to affect the stuff on the outside, don't do it. I don't know how to put it more plainly. Don't do it. And we're going to hit this with our ink topper just to make it rounded. There we go. And see now I use rubbing alcohol. It has a small bit of water in it, so you still get a little bit of the oxidization, but the rubbing alcohol helps smooth it out, so you get a cool thing. This will all dry in a matter of minutes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take glue from this edge to this edge. And we're going to come up here because this is where our hole is going to go. And we want it to be solid. And then we're just going to take a line and go here to here. Maybe. Why did you decide to stop working? Come on, Humphrey. And we're going to go as close to this as we can so we can make the pocket as big as we can. I'm going to smooch down this edge just so it acts as a dam and it won't spread out as much. And we're going to do the same thing over here. It kind of acts as a dam. There we go. I'm going to come all the way to the edge. You can use glue stick for this. You do not have to use art glitter glue. And I'm going to fold this up. And I'm going to smush it up and out. And same with this side. And then we're going to take the brayer. What is that? Must have stuck. And we're going to brayer it down. There we go. Wipe the excess off. There we go. Now we have a cute little pocket to put in our journal. Let me get this will work. So we can put stuff in here like that. Ta-da! And then there's a pocket here and a pocket here. And we didn't have to put 2 pockets on it. You could have left it at just 1, but I decided to put 2. We need to ink these, so let's just take our ink dauber and just hit that with some ink. The leftover ink is fine. Now we have that. So we have our Yupo paper, our pocket. Let's cut this real quick. This is watercolor paper. No, this is index paper. Index cardstock. No, I can't remember. That's right. So I'm going to take this section here. I'm going to cut that at 4.5. Let's get our cutter. Let's move some stuff around so we have room for our cutter. Okay, these guys can go away. He can go back in his spot. Throw that back up there. So these are done. There we go. Let's get our cutter down. So I wanted this edge. So we're going to cut that at 4.25. That's 4.25. There we go. We've got this cool paper to use for something else. Yeah, this is the cardstock, I do believe. And this is the watercolor paper. So I want to cut this at 7.5. Oh, let's move our stencil. I still think the stencil turned out really cool. Excuse me. Seven and a half. We'll wait on that. And then we want, golly jeepers, I'm going to cut this edge off right. Let's cut it off at like 2. Let's see. That's 1. That's 2. Yeah. Oh, 1.5. That'll still give us a substantial piece of something to use as something else. So that'll go in the scrap bin. And then turn it around and go for 4.25. There we go. And we still have some really cool paper to use for another project, or we can use it for what we're working on now. 7.5. There we go, scrap bin. There's that. And I think, because we got our Yupo paper. Yeah, I think these are the ones that we're going to use. So let's cut these off, ink them up, and put them in our pile. I'm trying to decide if I want to do I want to do the pattern on one side? I don't think so. I think we're just going to leave it like this because that goes with the rest of it. Okay, so we're going to take these two, stack them up, use our template, I'm going to pinch it down. There we go. And we're going to take your scissors. You can cut this with a ruler and an X-Acto knife if you wish to do so. I'm just going to come by hand. These go in the art bin. There we go. So now let's see where we're at. So these are our papers that we have. These are handmade art papers. I really like that. And then we have some scrapbook paper. And I think I wanted to see, we might, yeah, so we have enough white in there. We need to bring in some darkness. So we're going to save this for another project. I might just put this in my tag bin. And maybe this one too, because this one, well, that kind of matches those blues. Let's put that to the side for now. Definitely want that. Definitely want that. Definitely want that. And these are all double-sided, so we for sure want these. These are Tim Holtz. That one's not double-sided though. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't take that one out, even though we use that as our pattern. Oh, you know what? We'll leave that one in there. Maybe. Let's see how many pages we got. We don't want this thing to be 4 feet tall. So, because we still got to put spacers between them too. So, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We'll do 18 pages. So now we have all our pages for our signature. I'm just going for tonight. I'm just going to stack these all up. And I want to measure this because I think we might have to get a longer screw. Here it is. I haven't brought it downstairs because that's what I was thinking about. It's like, okay, why are there 2 on there? Oh, that's right, because I grabbed an extra one. Well, that's fine. So, yeah, we'll have plenty of room, I think. I'm pretty sure. I might have to get a longer screw, which is fine. We can take some fingernail polish and paint that if we need to. But cool. I'm excited now. It's all coming together. I love it when a plan comes together. I'm going to put this over the top so we don't dent the Yupo paper. Okay, maybe. There we go. We'll put it up there, and then we'll put the big one down at the bottom. There we go. So tomorrow, we're going to build another element. We're going to put together we're going to do probably one of the last colors on the cover and back, and then we'll start putting it together and start filling it and start doing those things. So we'll have this wrapped up on Friday. So if you get an opportunity to come join us on the live streams, we go live every day for the month of September. We're going to be going live at 10:30 in the morning every morning during the week, and then on the weekends it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Remember, be kind to one another. Peace, love, and happiness.